All right, so we're back again, and I know I said I was gonna pick up on sheep breeds, but since all the dogs are here, I'll go ahead and hit protecting your livestock. How you're gonna do that? And I'll start with some of my dogs. Here comes Sally. This is Sally. She's half Pyrenees, half Marma, and she's kind of the matriarch or the alpha female of this farm. Yeah, Sally. Yeah. And we'll let you meet her mother, Sienna. Sienna is a Marma. Hey, Sienna. And she's not a fan of the camera. But if you notice, the Marmas, they're an Italian breed, and they're a little smaller in stature than the Pyrenees are. And what's so cool about Marmas is, they look for coyotes and everything on the ground, but they also look for stuff that flies. They pay a lot of attention to birds, whereas some other breeds may not. And this is Sarge. He's our male. He's been fixed. He's a Pyrenees. I got him from a buddy of mine that quit raising goats, and so he gave him to me so he'd have a job. So this is the one thing that will drive you crazy, is the flies biting their nose. And so you'll want to put petroleum jelly or something on their nose during the summertime every day. Petroleum jelly, Neosporin, something like that. And you'll want to give them some of that good flea and tick medicine that you put on their neck. That's about $50 a dose every 3 months, because their fur is so thick that you won't find every tick on them. And even in winter, the ticks will be up under there, and some of the ticks will actually survive because their fur is that warm. So I have used Anatolans. We had an Anatolan, and she was an Anatolan Akbash mix. She was a good dog. Basically, when you get your dog and you get your sheep, you pin them up in close quarters so the dogs will bond to the sheep. And for a seasoned dog, there's usually not a lot of reason to do that. Honestly, you can build these dogs a doghouse, but and put it out there and move it with the pastures. But I've tried that, and they don't care about your doghouse. And unless it's just ridiculously cold, these guys are going to be where their sheep are. They usually do most of their work at night, and you'll see them doing this, laying out like this, and somebody will drive down the road and say your dog's dead, or you'll drive down and almost crash off in a ditch because you think your dog's dead. So I've learned to just drive by, honk the horn, the dog picks its head up, you know the dog's alive. If you do decide to raise sheep and you have lots of acreage and you love to hunt, something you seriously need to think about, because once you fence it off, put sheep in there, and put these dogs in there, you will not have a deer, a turkey, nothing. Because if it's not a sheep, they're gonna run it off. All this 100 acres used to be lots of deer when it was cows, and there's no sheep dogs. But they keep all the deer run off. So if you'd rather farm, then go for it. If you'd rather deer hunt, I would set aside a smaller portion, or just not fool with it, because you're not going to have any deer or turkeys. We used to have both. These guys, when they get bored during the day or something, they want a snack, they will chase down a bunny rabbit or something like that, and probably if they catch it, they're going to eat it. The nice thing about it is, if you have mama sheep that lamb, or cows or goats or whatever you got them watching, when they lamb or kid or calve, that dog will come and clean all that afterbirth up and help mama clean off the babies. I don't care if I'm helping mama clean off the babies, because it messes with the scent and it makes the mamas mad, but they'll clean up the afterbirth. And the one thing that will mess with you as far as keeping records of how many dead lambs you have or lambs that don't make it, if you don't tag them and keep up with it, they will eat lambs that are born dead, lambs that die in the first hours of being born. Anything that a predator's gonna smell, they're gonna clean it up. So that is good on one hand, but it is bad on the other. It's not like you can come out here 8 hours later and find that lamb that didn't make it, so you can annotate it and write it down. You're not gonna know if you've got dogs. They're gonna clean that up. As far as shelter, like I said, they'll be under them pine trees. Worst case scenario with the sheep, they usually try to find a high vantage point like this hill, and this is where they're gonna hang out, look for birds, bobcats, coyotes, things like that. Best thing I found to do when the weather's nasty is find their place to sit. And if you want to feed hay there, feed hay there. That way they'll pack up around or get under your bale cradles or whatever, or just go take a bale of wheat straw and put there and scatter one out. Or if you've got like where your corner posts come together and some woven wire, just bust a couple of bales of straw there and they'll sit in that corner when it gets really nasty. Is a worst case scenario. I've only had to do it once or twice, but they don't care about your doghouse. They care about these sheep. That's their job. They get their dog food every day and a hug and a pat on the head, and they're happy campers. That's all they want. The Anatolians, Akbashes, they're a little bit more not as stranger tolerant as the Marmas and the Pyrenees. So if you do ag tourism, that's something to just be aware of. They don't really care for strangers. You come up here in the middle of the night and you hear somebody running towards you, barking ferociously and growling, and you best identify yourself so that dog knows you're friendly. You don't really have to worry about that as much with Pyrenees and whatnot. They're more of a lick you to death or just grumble and growl, and they're really not going to mess with people that much. So that's something else to think about. But that's just kind of a quick down and dirty on the dogs. They're worth their weight in gold. Some people use donkeys. I've never tried it. I was just scared because it's a bigger animal, and if they want to, I've just seen horses and sheep together. It don't go well, so I just ruled the donkeys off the table. I know nothing about alpacas. I've heard of using those. That's about it. If you've got female dogs, you need to get them fixed, because when they're in heat, they will let stray dogs on your farm and not run them off. I have seen that happen. I know. I came up here, there was 3 dogs. They weren't chasing sheep, but they were laid up there by a dog I had that was in heat. I ran the dogs off and took her to the vet immediately. So that fixed that problem. If you've got a male dog, you need to get him fixed if you don't want puppies. Where to get dogs? When I had to find dogs and started raising sheep, well, guess what? There weren't any dogs available. So I got Sally and Sienna from another farmer that used to raise sheep. I bought his flock. He told me I could have the dogs. Sarge, like I said, came from a buddy of mine. I've scoured Facebook, Craigslist looking for dogs. I found some that way. That's when you raise sheep or something like that. If you want good genetics, if you want good dogs, plan to travel. I drove 4 hours and met a lady that drove 3 hours to get to Cave City, and I drove 4 hours to get to Cave City to get a dog once. If you go to a lot of auctions, a lot of sale barns, if they're having a flock sellout or something like that, generally, a lot of times the dog will go through the ring and you can buy the dog. Or they may be selling their dog. I always buy a dog that's proven from a shepherd, or buy it from somebody that raises them. Get one at least that started. Some people like to get puppies and start them. I guess you can do that. I have no interest in raising puppies. I don't want to pay $500 for a puppy and find a hole in the fence, get in the highway, and get run over. Just not interested in it. Don't go to the animal shelter and get a dog. I've had people, or heard of people doing that, and actually I knew somebody that did that. they got a dog. He's a Great Pyrenees, brought him out. He did great with the big sheep. The babies hit the ground, and he will chase them and chase them and chase them, and you can stress sheep out, and they will die. He successfully killed 12 sheep, lambs, before stressing them out, chasing them and not stopping. And so you just don't want to get them. People will try to give you a dog that is because he's a Great Pyrenees or he's half Great Pyrenees. You don't want that dog unless that dog has watched sheep for a living. You do not want that dog. And it is worth it to pay the $500,000, $250,000, or go to the sale barn and find those proven dogs. They are worth their weight in gold. They will help you sleep at night. If I did not have these dogs, I would not sleep at night. I would not do this for a living. So, like I said, dogs are worth their weight in gold. Don't sell them short. Don't raise sheep without them. If nothing else, have some way to protect your sheep, even if it's not a dog. But because these things, you see how small they are. They're just a snack waiting to happen. A fox will tote a baby off. Coyotes tote them off. You know, bobcats, birds get them. It's nothing for them, you know. So you got all the time work and effort into it, so you want to take care of them. So that's all we got to say about dogs, and then we'll get back to breeds with our next video. So see y'all with that one.